But let's get started with fucking TYT drama, okay? So what happened? A couple of weeks ago, Anna basically popped off and said, like, I don't want to be called a birthing person. I'm sick and tired of this idea. I'm a woman. I'm not a birthing person. I will never be called a birthing person. You can never call me a birthing person. Birthing person, birthing person, birthing person, birthing person, blah, 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 blah. Now, for many people, it was like, what? Like, who the fuck did this to you? Like, I don't, what do you mean? Like, are there just people going around saying like you're a birthing person? No, I don't think so. It was one of those things where like what she's saying isn't like unreasonable. You know what I mean? Because being reduced to your like reproductive capabilities would be really ridiculous. And that's precisely why nobody fucking uses it in the real world. It's utilized in either academic concepts or medical concepts, right? It's either used in medicine where it would, it would work, or in academia. Perhaps there are some weirdos and fucking over the top hypersensitive people that will deploy it. Okay. She also talked about exactly what you're saying now. Lol, the meltdowns over wanting to be referred to as a woman rather than a birthing person is pretty wild. I'll never apologize for that, especially as the biological woman who's had a fucking lifetime being told I'm less than. I'm a woman, no apologies. So, Anna said the fucking birthing person thing, which was stupid. It was silly. But you know what? Here's one thing you're not supposed to do in that circumstance. Double down, triple down, quadruple down, which she did. And then Cenk got in, and Cenk started defending her too. Obviously, TYT also runs into the same issues that I run into on a regular basis of like having a fuckload of unhinged haters that want to tackle every single drama that they're in, want to elevate it, want to heighten it. But then there's also some very legitimate and very valid concerns that leftist people have, or leftist spaces have with TYT, especially as it pertains to their commentary over criminal justice, their commentary over crime and punishment, which has definitely taken a somewhat, I would say, if I'm being as charitable as possible, a reactionary slant. So when the trans line dropped, they basically were like, a lot of people were like, oh, that's it. They're making like a rightward shift. And I think that they're going to stop covering trans issues? No, I don't. And I said this before. I said this originally. Do I think that they're going to stop covering issues? Absolutely not. Of course they're going to keep covering trans issues. Do I think that they're transphobic? I don't even think that they're transphobic overall. But this kind of output is literally lending credence to transphobes. That's it. The moment that you see Ben Shapiro retweet you, the moment that you see Carrie Lake be like, oh, thank God you're popping off on this, that's the moment where you go, oh, fuck. No, I'm being used. I'm being used by right-wing forces. I should definitely put a stop to this immediately and make sure that everybody understands what my principles are. Okay? This happens to me regularly. People put words in my mouth. People go fucking crazy over shit that I say, not understanding the actual, not understanding what my like legitimate, genuine, well thought out, well crafted perspective is on any kind of matter. And they just like hyper focus on one moment or one instance. And they go, oh, that's you. I'm reducing you to that. That's what you're doing. And the more you double down, the more you triple down, the more people are going to think that that is, as a matter of fact, you. This is something that I understand because I've been through my fair share of idiotic fucking controversies. Now, I love Oleyemi. I think Oleyemi is great. I'm excited to have her on the broadcast. Hopefully, eventually. Her and Lol Overruled were supposed to come on the broadcast. She's a wonderful person. She does a lot for, she does a lot for criminal justice reform. And she's great. Great. But here is what her take was, I guess, against Anna. I think this like escalated basically because she had been on the Young Turks and then she went on another show, and on that show she said something about Anna. I don't really know what it was, but let's hear what.
It's bad faith. They know there's a difference between gender and sex. They know that it is very possible for someone to be born a biological male or a biological female, but in terms of gender, identify differently as a male or non-binary, but they still have the biological capacity, the physical capacity to get pregnant. So that's why the language, the rhetoric is inclusive to include those people. It is not a big deal, but they make it.
Oh my God, I had never seen this. Damn, she's spitting. Yeah, I mean, this is the truth.
A big deal. They manufacture it into a big deal because that's all Republicans are.
Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely right on this. And honestly, holy fuck, I'm not surprised that she's absolutely right on this. I'm more surprised that she's making a big deal about it now. Yes, Tyler, I live in California. I don't know. Anyway, lol, the meltdown's over. Wanted to be referred to as a, wait, what is this? You made transphobic statements, and we spent an hour of the show defending you from allegations of being a TERF rather than addressing the substantive problems with your comment. I said I felt like they were coddling you, and I stand by that. If you think that makes me a hater, knock yourself out, Miss Mamas, is what she said.
I want her to change her mind and to understand what she did wrong. Because if it's just...
Yeah, this was the show I was referencing. It's like Matt Binder and David Dole, Mike Figueroa, Blair Zahn, Lance from the Surfs, and Oliemi is on here as well, and Kenny. I don't know some of these people. Anyway, they were having this conversation, and I'm sure that they had like a well thought out, reasonable discussion that went on for a very long time. That's how fucking leftist podcasts go. It's not my shtick. It's not my fucking tease. I'll just say it like that. But you know, there's definitely a market for it. And then of course the one clippable moment is like, oh, Binder, sorry.
So
no, of course,
but that's not the same. That's not the same though. That's not the same.
I have to say it. Oh my God, I have to say it. I like Anna, but I feel a little bit like this is the coddle the white lady hour. And you know why? And you know why? I thought this even earlier because before this, the Majority Report put out a thing too, and everybody else, and I was like, boy, everybody sure feels the need to trip over their fucking feet to come out to defend her for getting cooked when all of the people.
I think the reason why a lot of people say that, like, I don't think that myself included say that like we don't think Anna is transphobic, even though I don't really know what the fuck is going on with her now, because like this addresses this literally. But the reason why people say that is because like there's a long history of speaking out against transphobia within TYT. Like that's it. And when you have a long history of speaking out against transphobia, when you have this like one sidestep, I think people will, especially people that know them personally, myself included, will most likely go, wait, hold on. Like, this is not, you know, they're being weird, but I don't think that they are, I don't think they're transphobic.
People get cooked all the time. Nobody, I have yet to watch a video of anybody defending me from getting fucking cooked. I've never seen it. I've never seen everybody come out. She has a lot of fucking bad takes, and then she gets cooked because she comes out unprovoked. She asks to be cooked. She got up today and she said, Twitter, cook me.
Listen,
She has yet to delete the tweet. I want to make it clear. She has yet to delete the fucking tweet.
She hasn't deleted it?
Ratio. You know why? Because at the end of the day, she took a 106,000 like tweet. She didn't even get ratio. She didn't even get ratio. She'll be all right. All right. She didn't do it. Like, oh my God.
I saw.
Like this stuff, it's just like it's such a weird situation because I don't agree with Anna's take. I don't agree with her perspective, and I don't think that it's productive for her to keep doubling down. But I've fucking been in her shoes in circumstances where I think is not valid for me to be the fucking main character of Twitter. And I've been in her shoes in circumstances where it is valid for me to be the main character on Twitter. And the thing you want to do when you're in that situation is always fucking double down and be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're misunderstanding my point. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to say it over and over and over again. And it's like, it's extremely online. I haven't really seen anything that she has said. I just know her as a person. I've worked with them for years. Obviously, Cenk is also my uncle, who I know, deeply for that reason. This is just 100% Anna being weirdly hyper-focused on a singular aspect of an issue she's otherwise fine on. Then people are taking that and extrapolating to her whole belief system. Both are wrong and focusing on the wrong thing. Yeah, I think cooler minds, calmer hearts will prevail in this circumstance. You held Cenk when he was a baby? No, Cenk held me when I was a baby. But yeah. Bringing back this tweet. Cenk Uyghur, I'm going to tell your nephew that you said something fucking stupid. This is so dumb. But yeah, he's just like, I think it's just incredibly weird that she's saying this shit and doubling down where trans people are being targeted right now. By the way, she deserves all the hate she's getting, to be honest. Does she deserve scrutiny and people being like, what the fuck are you doing? Absolutely. But I still ultimately think it's incredibly unproductive. It's unproductive for her to double down. It's, I think it's understandable that people are, getting more and more mad as she doubles down because that's her only output on Twitter. That's the only thing that people see her as. That's it. But the Emma Vigeland stuff was weird too. By the way, speaking of which, I will be on the Majority Report on Friday, I believe. But here, Cenk said, we didn't repeatedly emphasize anything. Anna posted the most innocuous tweet of all time, which now a lot of you are saying was perfectly normal. Then leftists lost their shit and started saying it was an attack against trans people, etc. There's absolutely no question about who started this and made an enormous deal out of it. Everyone felt like they had to do a video explaining how they're more holy than us when no real voters on the left agree with you at all. Please don't pretend that we are the ones making a big deal out of it. And then Emma said, the repeated emphasis and reaction have been on social media. I can't speak to the segments you guys have done on the show. I'm not trying to be pure. I'm engaging with you, even though it's uncomfortable for me because I love you guys and I want TYT to be on the right side here. Emma used to work for the Young Turks as well. And then Cenk said, we didn't repeatedly emphasize anything. Anna posted the most innocuous tweet of all time, which a lot of you are saying is perfectly normal. Oh, sorry. We already covered that. And then Cenk went one step further and quote tweeted Emma and said, good news, we are on the right side. Mission accomplished. Now let me talk to you in a patronizing way about all your opinions I need to correct. I was trying to express my love and appreciation for the company that gave me my start and for my good friend Anna within the context of a disagreement. This reaction is pretty shocking to me, Cenk. Have a good one. Now, Emma is great. She's awesome. It's just this is not great. It's not great at all. It's really bad. I've been in Cenk's shoes in the past as someone who's at that moment through anger and not being understanding, someone who has basically been the main character on Twitter, and then the constant urge to double down and say, I've been in this fucking battle for years and years, fuck you, you know what I mean? I did that with the Hogwarts shit, which, by the way, I was absolutely right on. And unlike this, that wasn't a marginal tiny issue, which I also openly admitted was a marginal tiny issue in the grand scheme of things, but was something that even trans people, came to understand was ultimately still, a failure of movement. Plenty of trans people themselves were critical of it later down the line, but it doesn't matter. You constantly have a fucking interest and need to double down. In this circumstance, I think what they should be doing as far as their output is be like, look, here's what I would do. Let's say, let me put my PR hat on for a moment, okay? I'm doing PR for the Young Turks. What would I do in this circumstance? I would say, guys, a lot of confusion has caused this internal rift on Twitter amongst prominent leftists, content creators, activists, and the like. Okay? I want to clarify something. Okay? I overreacted to this birthing person controversy. Okay? I think that it's not necessarily utilized or deployed outside of academic circles, and even if it is by like weird, well-intentioned liberals who are just like thinking that they're doing the right thing or whatever the fuck, who cares? It is only and perhaps almost always weaponized by the right to make it like a bigger deal than it actually fucking is. And I, in that brief moment, in a moment of weakness, lend my statements to also further that right-wing agenda at a time when trans people are constantly under attack by way of legislation and certainly online through mass harassment, cyber stalking, doxing. Obviously, this is the least significant thing to hyper-focus on. It's not a tweet. I'm just saying this is what I would say. Okay? It's irrelevant. I have always fought for trans rights and will continue to fight for trans rights. And I think that we should all focus on exactly that rather than anything else. Okay? That's it. Anna was unfairly criticized by Tulsi fans, and she was ultimately right about Tulsi. So when Anna gets pushed back now by all of left Twitter, she thinks she's on the right side. Yeah, that's the other thing. David Dole actually had a really good take on this. Okay? He did. Possibly because he's Canadian. It's the last time I will ever give props to a Canadian man or people in Canada in general. Okay. He said, the only thing left to add to this drama with TYT, I think under constant bad faith, TYT has been under constant bad faith attacks for years, and that has probably clouded their judgment to what is and isn't legitimate criticism. This is something that I fucking experience on a daily basis. This is why I literally pop off sometimes on chatters who are being sarcastic, for example, because I have done this exact same thing. I've had to withstand so much insanity over the course of so many fucking years that it basically broke my brain. My immediate reaction to like any kind of misunderstanding is like, oh, he's cynically misconstruing what I'm saying. That's what's probably going on. I am not going to clarify. I'm not going to be charitable. I'm just going to fucking fire back. Ah! Right? It's like a trauma response almost. Okay? Problem is, it wasn't that brief. She sat on that clip for 2 weeks and came at Ole on a tweet that has nothing to do with her. I agree. I'm not saying that she is behaving in a manner that is good. I'm saying that this is what you do when you're like, when you've been burned so many times that you don't know that the people that are like trying to correct you are actually doing it because they have watched your content in the past. They literally worked with you. They know who you are as a person. You know what I mean? It's like the classic. It's like the classic, like, what do you call it? Please turn off your phone. You are not this person. You know what I mean? Like the Grimes tweet to fucking Elon. David also brought up some really good points, additional good points. Anyway, but I would hope that when people closest to you ask you to rethink it, that you would take it seriously. Okay? Also, FYI, there are chaos accounts on here playing both sides in an attempt to cause some larger rift. For the record, this is another thing that happens all the time. It's very frustrating for someone like myself who finds himself in the hotbed of controversy regularly over dumb shit that no one else would ever get yelled at about, because there are entire fucking Discord servers and forums full of people who are dedicated to hyping up any kind of controversy, no matter how innocuous, no matter how silly, which, by the way, Anna's isn't, okay? It's not as silly, but it is now, because it's completely went to a different direction because of her reaction to the ongoing sea of criticism, plus Jank's involvement in it. But people do this all the time. Sure, Mr. Entitled White Person, teach us what is and isn't bad faith in your opinion. You click on their fucking account, their pin tweet is, Trans and queer theory founders actively advocated for pedophilia. In addition to their attempts at erasing women, they're actively trying to target children. This is why they think grown men is shaking their ass in front of children is a good thing. They are monsters. LGB without the T. It's like we can see when you're making an argument on Reddit, we see your like, you know, entire fucking timeline full of like the exact opposite shit. This person said, I think you're extremely fair to Anna Kasparian in that leftist mafia podcast. I don't understand Anna's reaction. However, Ole was out of line and tried to unfairly accuse you guys of coddling white women syndrome and try to pit you guys against one another. You fucking click on it, and it's a fucking account that like retweeted Rand Paul. It's like a crypto account that's like retweeting Rand Paul. Here's a third example of an account trying to instigate chaos while playing both sides. This person blocked me. I assume they're just like some brain-broken fucking freak. I found out because I looked at I wanted to see their account. They had blocked me already. Just curious, will you ever speak out against your bestie Anna Kasparian's unprovoked attack on M. Solorin? Just saying, you are supposed to have a spine to call out bigotry and anti-trans narratives. This is what I have to deal with all the time. This is my fucking name backwards, by the way. I deal with this every fucking day. It makes me go crazy. Twitter is full of brain-broken people, and every day it's getting worse. Anna Kasparian shares a cis woman's perspective, a true progressive not ready to hold back on honest, open conversations, but most of the reactions have been just derogatory, harassment, and assuming intent. Jobless motherfuckers sit in the Discord. This is what I said. Jobless motherfuckers sit in the Discord to cook this shit up. I wish I was kidding. They do this kind of stoking of the discourse fires with me regularly. The problem is I see real people fall for it in our spaces, and it's so infuriating. So it doesn't matter though, because they do it. Here's the point. They do it when there's something real happening, and they do it when there's something that isn't real, which they end up ultimately turning into a real piece of drama. Okay? That's it. Blocked by your own stalker? Yes, I am blocked by my stalker. But this is just one of thousands of accounts out there that do the same shit, to me in particular. Now, my point is this. How are you supposed to parse through this? How are you supposed to have real discourse? This is a very serious problem. This is a serious problem in movement building. This is a serious problem when the only way to do movement building is online. This is just a serious problem in general with anonymity online. And unfortunately, Twitter is very bad for this, okay? Twitter is very, very, very bad for this. What should happen in this circumstance is bringing both sides together, okay, and having it be mediated by a third party. Oftentimes parse through these discussions in private, okay? Did you see the video Oleemi tweeted? Yeah, I know this video, man. This is the number one video that like right-wingers love using against the Young Turks. It's like the Young Turks policy on saying the N-word with a hard R shifted a couple years back, I think. I remember because it was like a decade of old clips of her like reading news quotes. And it's just like old ass clips where they're like literally reading quotes. It's not like they are like saying it against a black person or anything. Like they're literally reading sound bites. These are sound bites of them like literally reading news articles without self-censoring. White people saying it when reading a quote is wrong too? Yeah, well, that's why they don't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah, back in the day, as I've explained, that was what the news practice was. Exactly. And that's precisely why they stopped. So you're fighting with ghosts in that regard. And I think that like this is Please read my other message if you can / want. No. I'm not going to play the video. I think that it is definitely not a good practice, which is why they stopped it, right? And that's it. I don't know what else to say about it. It was never okay for white people to say it. This is correct. Black people are never cool with that. Never. Also correct. There's no world where the same woman who is riddling off the N-word gets to act like birthing person is a slur of all slurs. But even if your argument was correct, if society can evolve to exclude racial slurs, I can't even read. But even if your argument was correct, if society can evolve to exclude racial slurs, it can evolve to include inclusive language. I think the irony is correct in that regard. I get Oliami's point. I don't think that it was malicious, their application of it. But then again, not only am I white, I also worked there. So obviously, I have a lot of privilege. So that's the reason why I can tell you that there is no maliciousness behind it, but you can receive it differently. Because when you hear a white person say the N-word, even if they are reading and reading a direct quote from a news article where the N-word is written, okay, it still doesn't change that reality. It still hurts, which is precisely the reason why they stopped doing it. Good thing your white ass is already in the sitting position. Yeah, I routinely sit my white ass down and I listen. But in the context of like birthing person versus the N-word, I mean, yeah. Language evolves. They updated their policy as a news team to self-censor. And I think that's a good thing. And they should definitely not make a big deal about birthing person because it is just simply being weaponized by the right. It was a common practice by all media outlets. It wasn't just TYT. I'm pretty sure it was, but I don't know. Maybe. Here's a question. Have you gone places where you aren't considered white? Because in my opinion, Turkish people are POC, or am I just dumb? It depends. I will say that TYT's track record for hiring ended up being abysmal. As on an MR notable exceptions? Yeah. Germany is probably the most prominent place that I can think of that is like Turkish people are not considered like a part of the in-group. Anyway, I feel like so many leftists have this insane amount of energy to attack other left-wing people over their language, but are really lazy when it comes to holding actual powerful people accountable. Well, that does definitely happen all the time. In this circumstance, though, I think that the doubling and tripling down is causing confusion for no reason when, like, this is the actual perspective, in my opinion,
it's bad faith
of someone like Anna Kasparian.
They know there's a difference between gender and sex. They know that it is very possible for someone to be born a biological male or a biological female, but in terms of gender, identify differently as a male or non-binary, but they still have the biological capacity, the physical capacity to get pregnant. Mm-hmm. So that's why the language, the rhetoric is inclusive to include those people. It is not a big deal. But they make it a big deal. They manufacture it into a big deal because that's all Republicans are. That's all they have. This is all they do. Endless bad faith arguments meant to fearmonger and direct hatred and fear toward other Americans, typically powerless Americans. Because it's bad faith. They know there's a difference between gender and sex.
So, like I said, why do I think personally that like they double down, triple down, quintuple down? Why do I think that they did that? In this regard, because like this directly contradicts Anna's sentiment being expressed here, and there's not that much time difference between then and now when she's tweeting this shit. Okay, you want to know why? Because I think that they just have no way of parsing through like legitimate criticism. They also have the I hate the left mentality that I have because like that shit happens all the fucking time. It happened during the Hogwarts saga, right? Where I was actually on the right side, even though I think that they're on the wrong side for the record. Okay? And it is so depressing to constantly feel like the left has their knives out against you. They also, I think, personally believe that they were at the forefront of progressive commentary online, and now, you got all these like baby leftists coming out of the gates and critiquing them, and they can't fucking see that as like valid criticism ever. They have an inability to filter that as like valid criticism. The moment that people that are close to them, that work with them, actually reached out to them, they should have been like, oh yeah, this is being fucking weaponized against trans people by nefarious actors on the right. You know what I mean? What if it's not valid though? She dropped that first tweet unprompted. Is a right-wing grift dog. You said dozens of times this is where money's at. I think right-wing grift is where the money's at. 100%. I don't think that they're doing a right-wing grift. It is also pretty funny to tell me this because, I think that they're, I'll tell you like this. I'll tell it to you like this. TYT is not going to fucking gain a more prominent, larger audience by going right because they have been the villain, the number one villain of right-wing audiences for a decade, for 2 decades, almost 3 decades, actually. Steven Crowder, before he popped off and became this massive content creator, used to make sketches about jank. Okay? Everyone knows them as the bad guys on the right. I think it's worse that they are doing this right-wing slant because they're not even doing it for money. I think they genuinely had a perspective shift on the criminal justice shit. I know this because I talked to them, to Jank at least. I haven't talked to Anna all that much, but 100%. I've talked to Jank. I've talked to Jank on this broadcast. I've talked to him privately. They have a crime attitude that is absolutely reactionary. Okay? Damn it, I keep spilling. As far as their beliefs goes, I think they're genuinely held. But as far as the trans stuff, I don't think that they have a legitimately held anti-trans perspective. Only time will tell. Maybe they'll have a reactionary slant on trans issues as well. I would be genuinely shocked if that was the case. Does that make sense? Because of all of this, you don't get to be the right-wing punching bag for 3 fucking decades, okay? And then all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, someone called me a birthing person, so now I'm, transphobic actually. It makes no sense. It would be a significantly more immediate, if it was a grift, it would be a more immediate fucking change of attitude to directly signal to the right. No one called her that? No. I'm saying people are saying that they're becoming TERFs or they're going to be TERFs. I think they're just signaling to the right that they're TERFs that they're right wing and they want to cultivate a right wing audience. Does that make sense? Do you sense that he was becoming reactionary due to getting old? I think that could probably be the reason too. In your opinion, why wouldn't it be a signal for her that every right-wing pundit retweeted her, was started giving her praise? I think that they just think that they're right. That's it. I think that this is like, they legitimately think that they're right. That's what it is. They think that they're correct on this. And the original sentiment that she expressed about birthing person is not like an incorrect one entirely, like I said originally, but it's also completely overblown and weaponized by the right. And I think everyone ultimately understands that. It's like, yeah, if women were being called birthing person left and right, if that was a real thing, then people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? That's so dumb. Does that make sense? I mean, Juniper said it best originally. Her original tweet was perfect on this. It's like, why the fuck are you talking about something that like is literally relegated to the halls of academia and like medical context as though it's something that people are dropping left and right? That was her original take on the matter, and she is absolutely fucking correct. Does that make sense? Do you understand? So what does this mean to you, Jen? They're just like quintupling down. It's just so sad to see. It's so fucking sad to see.
I'll just say this. Okay, I love you, and it's okay. And if you disagree,
I see too much of myself in this picture, and it pisses me off. Okay, I see myself in this picture.
It's okay. If you want to leave, that's okay. Okay. Thank you for being a member all this time. I appreciate it. But what you're, in my opinion, what your misunderstanding is, and what you have maybe you didn't see is, so all this kerfuffle starts with a simple tweet, and then at least half a dozen videos from other progressives or leftists online, all attacking us and calling us all sorts of names. So maybe you don't see that, so you think like, well, what is Cenk so upset about, right? So they call us all these names and they feel super proud about it, like, we are more pure. So then I fight back on Twitter, and then all of a sudden they're like, how could you insult us? We were just, all we were doing was punching you in the face. No, that's a right-wing position. You punch, then you gotta expect that I'm gonna counter, right? I don't mean you kid tested.
I like this. I don't like this. I'm in this picture and I don't like it. This is me. I'm seeing myself and I fucking hate this. Stop. I don't want to watch it.
I mean, for folks who are out there, here, I'll name a name. Lance from the Serps. He's on here all the time on the Power Panel, right? And he comes out and does this like video about how he's so correct and, oh yeah, the Young Turks, correct? No, Lance, you're not goddamn correct. Nobody elected you. The polling shows no one agrees.
Yeah, they think that they're not getting the respect that they believe they deserve, that they earned from many years of doing many years of doing this. TYT was called out 11 months ago over the same shit.
Of Anna and I talking about this issue, and then we'll discuss. Let's watch.
I'm speculating that she doesn't want to say mothers because mothers is gendered and she's worried about offending birthing people. Like birthing people, really? Come on. For me, it's not even like, oh, I don't want to be in.
See, it's not a right wing. It's not like a grift. It's just like a genuinely held opinion. You know what I mean? Leaning into culture wars from the right wing perspective is always stupid. It's like making a big deal about me joking about Latinx being deployed. You know what I mean? I regularly talk about it. I don't say Latinx. I don't, because I'm a white guy. I don't want to come across like I'm super fucking out of touch. Let's be real. Okay? If I'm talking about issues that pertain to Latino people, okay, Latiners, Latiners, I just, I'm not going to fucking say Latinx because everyone would look at me and go, you're you're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person, right? But I'm not going to make this the most prominent issue on the fucking planet. Okay? It's stupid. It's dumb. Amy Goodman loves using it. I love Amy Goodman. I'm never going to fucking be like, why are you using Latinx? That's the best way to describe it. I think it's dumb. Okay? Latine makes more sense. X is like Latinx, okay? It's just like so American, so English language focused. Okay? And when I see my queen, Amy Goodman, use the term, I will never correct her on it. I would never be like, my queen, Amy Goodman, you are wrong. You know why? Because I know my fucking place. She does it because, why did you say that? Amy Goodman probably hates you. Don't worry, we still think you're ridiculous. Why do you have so much hate in your heart as a 23-month subscriber? Dumb analysis for your dumb audience. Like, what happens to so many people that they just like go from like being fucking hyper fans to being like, I literally hate you. Your analysis is dumb. And fucking you suck and Amy Goodman hates you. Like 23 months you have avoided the top of the hour ad break. 23 months. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. What happened? Is it because I didn't give you attention? Like, what the fuck? What went wrong in your mind? I want to fucking study you like the brain of a person who has CTE or some shit. Look at this. Fossabot timed this person out, and then they thought I banned them. Infinite Ryman, Digha, 5363. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 10 gifted. Infinite Ryman, thank you for the 10 gifted. Not exactly KB, thank you for the 5 gifted. Like, how does this happen? It's simply a disagreement with terms that problems for different people. Birthing person sounds like you're describing a vessel, not a human, which is insulting to all the women who have felt oppressed by the language. The issue isn't the inclusion, it's the term that was chosen that comes off poorly to many. I know, but like, ultimately, it's not that... It doesn't matter because it's like so stupid to have a conversation around it because it's not a real conversation to be had because no one is using it colloquially. We're having a semantics conversation that the right is basically weaponizing against trans people. And if you are a left-wing person, sometimes you got to eat shit. I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like one of the less discussed aspects of being a leftist person, especially when you're from a privileged background, is that you're going to sometimes eat shit, okay? That's it. I do it all day. I do it every day. Sometimes I pop off because I can't fucking deal with it any longer, especially when a long-term community member is literally basically saying, you and I are in agreement, but I don't understand that because I'm too fucking stupid, and literally reacting to shapes and colors that I see on screen that I personally misunderstood, and I'm going to make it your problem. But other than that, I eat shit nonstop. You're going to have to do that, okay? That's it. You're going to eat shit. People are going to misunderstand you. They're going to misconstrue your perspective. They're going to make it a much bigger deal. Just, you're supposed to do that. That's, recognizing your privilege in that regard comes along with that. You know what I mean? Part of the job. Does that make sense? Do you understand? I'll go back to another controversy, the Nicki Minaj one. The bus tweet that never was even sent out, but was weaponized by the Barbs to say I'm an anti-black racist. There were black members in this community that wrote very heartfelt messages about it, where they said, we know you're not racist. It was on my subreddit, if you remember. We know you're not racist, but as someone who has like been made fun of regularly for being black, that has heard like the bus jokes and shit like that, it hurt to see you even think about that. It hurt to see you even like think to write that out. Contextually, in that very moment, I thought that was appropriate. But logically, the logical part of my brain was saying, this is ridiculous to get upset at. I'm literally using the same terminology that she's using in her original tweet and when I'm responding to it. Okay? And also, the people that are upset are people that are, 35-year-old gay dudes working at Sephora that have Stan accounts for Nicki Minaj. That are currently defending Nicki Minaj because Nicki Minaj decided to come out of the gate swinging, being an anti-vaxxer, and also on top of that, defend Tucker Carlson. Like, I'm perfectly in the right. But it doesn't matter. Logic doesn't matter. Sometimes empathy is supposed to supersede logic. That's what you're supposed to do. Because no one is a hyper-rational, hyper-logical, robotic person. So when you hurt someone's feelings, what you're supposed to do, especially if you think that they are nice people overall, you're supposed to take a step back and say, listen, while I think that I'm logically correct here, my intention was never to harm you. My intention was never to make you feel bad. And I apologize for that. Okay? It's literally it's not about like being logical, rational, and being correct. It's about making sure that this space does not come across as hostile to people from marginalized backgrounds. Okay? That's it. Do you understand? Now, please apply that to your Hogwarts take, though. I did do that. I did. What do you mean? I literally did that. You're probably here still to this day and don't think I'm some fucking massive transphobe because you recognize that, because I did that. Not gonna lie, I'm glad you readdressed that tweet because I see people use that against you all the time. Yeah, because they're fucking freakazoids, dude. That's what it is. That's it. It's the same shit. Ultimately, no matter what happens, I brought it up today. I brought up my reaction or the way I received commentary and criticism of the trans community during the Hogwarts Legacy shit, literally openly. I said, I think that the posters on Twitter are incorrect, but it doesn't matter. I understand where they're coming from. They're constantly on the defense. They're constantly on the defense because it is impossible to be fucking publicly trans online in one of the only spaces where they can, build communities and have a sense of like support. Okay? I said that during the Hogwarts Legacy saga when everyone was calling me a fucking transphobe. Okay? It comes from a place of powerlessness. Exactly. I was the one who made that logic versus empathy comment in your sub on that thread, and it means a lot that it stuck with you. You all right, white boy? Huh. So do you get it? You want to know why? Because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't change my perspective. It doesn't change my perception. It doesn't change my advocacy. All it does is basically push people away from interacting with my commentary. That's all it does. Okay? And that sucks, ultimately. It gets people to go, oh yeah, this guy fucking sucks in leftist spaces. And that's what's happening to Anna as well currently. That's what's happening to Jake as well in trans spaces. So the better way to turn around and to deal with the situation would be by basically acknowledging, like eating shit. You know what I mean? Eating shit and acknowledging that, like, you unintentionally gave a weapon to the right, even though you were advocating for something that makes sense, okay, in your mind, because of how irrelevant it is in the grand scheme of things. You ended up getting the likes of Ben Shapiro, Carrie Lake, and everyone else to fucking use it as commentary, use it as like another attack against trans people. As a black chatter, I critique you, but I love your content. Admittedly, you have to understand that people voicing their opinions is not always hate. I know it's not. It becomes really hard to parse through what is hate and what is legitimate, well thought out criticism, or what is legitimate, well thought out criticism that sometimes is, in the wrong, right? It's hard to go through that when all you see is a sea of like leftist infighting all the time. And oftentimes it's also being, hyped up by weirdos who just want to see the drama.
With you, your 12 buddies online, I don't care, okay? And say, oh yeah, I'm 100%, he's 99.95% correct. Oh, I'm gonna correct him. No. So look, you wanna say, hey, I don't agree with you? God bless. You wanna say, Cenk, you shouldn't say anything back because you're being rude? Come on, brother or sister. I don't know what your
I just gotta be honest. I just don't really care to like collaborate with any other leftist ever again at this point.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at, because they come on the show, they build a name for themselves, and then they build a bigger name for themselves, trashing us as if they don't know who we are, as if they haven't worked with us, they don't know what our actual political values are. So I don't, Jake. I never want.
They're not gonna stop collaborating with leftists. Everybody, shut the fuck up. It's like me tweeting that. It's literally like me fucking tweeting, I'm so angry with the left, and then, the Kirby JPEG account fucking taking that off of my private tweet and being like, you fucking idiot, you think the left is the same as the right? Like, they don't think that. I don't think that either. But like, let's be real. There's nothing more leftist than fucking despising every other person that is also supposed to be your fucking ally, okay? That's it.
To talk about them again. I never want to address them again. It's a waste of time. There's important stuff going on in the country. Our personal drama with a bunch of leftists on Twitter doesn't matter.
All right, last thing I'm gonna say on it, because you brought it up, is that I'm not the kind of guy to back down.
Yeah, he's stubborn as fuck. I'm gonna text them right now. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Sorry. I was just texting Cenk. Anyway. The distinction you made before was great about the point where you should rethink things is when your friends or people you are on good terms with call you out. Yeah. Yeah. When someone like Emma is like criticizing you, they're not doing it to gain clout. They're doing it because it's like a legitimately held belief, and they're coming at it like constructively, and you need to be able to parse through that better. I often have issues with this kind of stuff too, but like that is the one thing that immediately shakes me out. That immediately fucking takes me out of that. If I see like a genuinely held perspective from a long-term community member or someone whose opinion I know is not in the wrong. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to do. You got to do that. And the moment that you don't do that, you're just fucking swinging for the fences for no reason. You know what I mean? Why would Anna go and like this stuff though? What is it? Yeah, it's like cringe as fuck. I don't even know what that, like, I can't believe she liked this tweet. Like, I don't know what the fuck that is. That is like infinitely more scary. Like someone saying fucking trans think is legitimately infinitely more scary to me and shows that there's like genuinely held reaction above and beyond like semantics misunderstanding. Anyway. But of course, we're not having a conversation about like their opinion on crime. Okay, that part I completely disagree with. I think that they're totally off base on that. So glad I started trans thinking. Yeah, trans think is like such a, again, transphobic people are so fucking funny with the way that they cover trans people because they make trans people sound like superheroes and not just like a bunch of anxious, extremely online coders that just, are more interested in like trying to find a sex mod for Fallout New Vegas. Okay? It's like it's so it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Bro, where did that stray come from? Okay, listen, I gotta say stuff like that so that people understand that like it is so entirely specific. My knowledge of trans existence is so incredibly specific that you can't even like you either have to be like hyper transphobic or you have to either literally be trans or be like the best ally. Okay, fuck it. Even Ben Shapiro doesn't know about those memes. You know what I mean? It's weird. Most of us who corrected them did so in the gentlest way possible. My issue is that they were making shit up to be mad at. Like, what are they even talking about? Who's calling Anna a birthing person? This is just a hypothetical she made up and is now raging against all our allies and friends. I just don't get it. I think that I told you, I think that they feel like they don't get the respect that they feel they deserve by being like the fucking, by being the punching bag of like every fucking right-wing freak for like almost the past 30 years now. So now when they see people, now when they see people from the left criticize them, they're like, "What the fuck? Like we made you." You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. It's not logical. One other critique I think we're kind of avoiding here, and I know you've critiqued Cenk on this in the past, but when it comes down to it, Cenk and I think Anna are as well as very much still capitalists. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Of course. What do you mean? I'm not avoiding it. I fucking debated him on it on his network back when I had a show on his network. Okay. Here, I tweeted a joke, okay? I'm sure this will not be misconstrued and people will go crazy. I know we've critiqued them on it, but I think it sometimes informs some of their other shit takes being libs. It bleeds over in other areas, including culture ones. Yeah, I think so. Anyway. Yeah, I subbed and complained in my comment about Anna's take, but of course they didn't read it, and everyone in chat ignored my critique and just went on to agree with her. Pisses me off. Anna thinks women can't be as strong as men in physical tests, can't be firefighters. I like you were discussing what a lame take that is in a military context recently. Yeah, I mean that I think is a silly take. It's just entirely dependent on who the fuck we're talking about. Is being called a birthing person that offensive? Most women in my life call me fuck machine, and it's maybe a little dehumanizing to be reduced to my elite sexual performance, but really not that big of a deal. Yes! Oh, that's a banger, Striker. Good shit. That's a good, yes. I got nothing. No notes. No notes. That's a 10-10. No notes. Ah! Oh, for those of you who don't know, Striker is a troll in this community. It's very good. I will never VIP him because everybody knows when I VIP someone, they go away. So